I am here with Stevie, sports broadcaster, right? Radio host, host of Pick Six Sports, and also part of the Real DFW Fan Sided Network. Stevie, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Thursday, so we call it Friday Junior around where I'm at. So we're really excited about the weekend. As far as work goes, this is really where things pick up. Not just at the radio station where I'm at, but also, of course, you got the Dallas Cowboys playing on Sundays or Mondays or what have you. So it's always a loaded weekend in the fall, and I'm excited for it.
Oh, you and me both, brother. So it's interesting that you're a radio host. So before social media, how did you get into how did you get your sports information?
I was always the kind of guy who was gonna dig around on every website that I possibly could. I mean, going back to dial-up internet, I can remember waiting, 5-10 minutes or whatever it was for ESPN.com to pull up so that I can see, who's got the highest batting average now, who's rushing for the most yards and all those types of things. And then going into school, and starting to get more into my broadcasting career, I did a lot more writing, which caused me to dive into reading other people's material a little bit more. But I mean, really, as far as getting information, it's for me, it's always been about watching the game, making your own opinion, and then pulling up those stats from a WWW, like the
Of
old way
course.
that we used to do it.
I hear you. No, I get you. Your story is very similar to a lot of people that I have interviewed. So, it's great to know that there's other people that were like-minded out there that were, scouring a newspaper or doing things of that nature. So, I am here with the one and only LP Cruz. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
No, not too bad, not too bad. So, just a quick rundown. LP, he's part of the Freshman 15 podcast. He's also a contributor for Blogging the Boys. What else am I missing?
I think you nailed it, man. Blogging the Boys, Stonehall Sports on my own channel, talking Cowboys. So mostly Cowboys, college football. Yeah, and Blogging the Boys. I think you nailed it.
Okay, no, sounds great. Well, I'm glad to have you here, and I appreciate the help. The first thing, before social media, how did you get your sports? Where did you get all your sports information from?
So way back in the day, this is like going back to like the 90s. We had the newspaper. This is a long time ago. So we had the newspaper. You might remember this era of like
people don't remember that
or cable gobbler. The other way, it was Sports Center. So I remember being a kid, getting up at like 7 a.m. in the morning, eat my breakfast, eat my cereal. Instead of watching cartoons, I'm watching Sports Center. And back then, it was it's on repeat, it's on loop. So I'm watching Stuart Scott, and Stuart always had like an impression on me as a fan of sports. Maybe even now, as a caster of sorts, it was just Stu Scott. That was my fix back in the day. Plus, being around my dad, who was a sports person, it just kind of came to me naturally, like reading the newspaper, looking at box scores. And back then, it was mostly baseball. So it was like the ERAs and being just who's leading the league in home runs, who has the most RBIs, ERA. The box scores where I got all my information from then. And of course, Sports Center and the newspaper and things like that.
Okay, yeah. Hey, look, you conjured up old memories here. I got something very similar that sounds just like your background. So it's good to hear that somebody else has something, that I went through and enjoyed the things that I went through during the same time, may I say. So, okay, great. My guest name today is Hall of Famer Stephen Mullinax. He is the former editor of the Landry Hat and the Sideline Report. He is also a member of the Pro Football Writers of America. Stephen, how you doing?
Wonderful, Angel. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing even better that you've agreed to come here and talk to me. So it's great stuff.
Sure, let's get it kicked off.
Sounds good. Okay, so first question that I have: before social media, how did you get your sports information?
Yeah, that was mainly through television and the newspaper. I can still remember looking for box scores and things like that in the newspaper, and that really it really gives you a passion for words. Those early newspapers, because it really replaced what's now been replaced by like replays that we would see and on YouTube or TikTok. That they were just in words. So the writers had a different kind of direction at that time. They had to actually paint real pictures, real video in your mind, and that's what words did back then. Now it's a little bit different. Now it's so interactive and so quick, and you can see what the people are talking about instead of maybe reading about what Antonio Brown did. That his antics, you can actually see them. But back in the day, you actually just read them. So the newspaper was probably something that most people got their sports information from until ESPN really broke into to the mainstream, and that didn't give you local sports too. And a lot of people still are getting their local sports information from sources like newspapers.
A passion for words is what stood out to me, and that is a fantastic line. I love it.